Hello there, Lunar Squadron, and welcome back to the channel. The Marvel Spider-Man 2 news train just keeps on rolling as we have even more brand new and exciting Marvel Spider-Man 2 details to break down for you today. This is all about customization and suits. New details have surfaced thanks to a recent interview between Bryan Intihar and Marvel.com. He sat down with Marvel and broke down all the things people need to know about pre-orders going into the whole pre-order thing that just started on Friday. And in this interview, he reveals so many exciting new details about how customization and suits are going to work in this game. And we're going to break it all down for you. But first, if you're new to the channel, we would love to have you as always. And the way to do that, just go down below this video, hit that little subscribe button, the bell notification right on next to it. It will notify you every single time Andreas and I upload. Also, if you have not yet joined our Discord server, we would love to have you join us. So many of you have actually joined this week, and it has been so incredible to see. It's a great place for you to get to know us. It's a great place for us to get to know you better. We just hang out in there. We talk about all things Spider-Man, Marvel, DC, Star Wars. Anything you want to talk about, you can talk about it with us in our Discord, so definitely consider joining. That link to join our Discord server will be down below in the description. Now, with all of that out of the way, Andreas, let's talk about some Spider-Man suits.
Let's do it, guys. This brand new Marvel.com interview with Bryan Intihar is pretty lengthy. It goes into a few different topics, but we really want to hone in here today on one of the more interesting points that we took away from this interview, and that is the customization features that have been confirmed for Spider-Man 2. So let's go ahead and look at this segment of the interview right here. It starts off with this question from Marvel. I like how the interviewer's name is just Marvel, as if Marvel doesn't know the answers to these questions. Just funny. Anyway, the question says, obviously, you guys are planning out your skill trees and their items and the costumes and all this stuff. How do you start to say, okay, this is what we want to give to the pre-order people. This is what we want to make sure we don't even show until people are like 10 hours into the game and they've unlocked and they go, what the hell is that? And Bryan Intihar responds to this question as follows. He says, well, the good news is that from Spider-Man 1 and the Miles game, we knew that people really like suits. It's an understatement of the century. He says, so it's like, you have a lot of opinions on suits. Then it was, okay, we know we want to give some early unlocks to the suits. And then we were like, well, which ones are they? And actually, we made this decision pretty quickly. And I was like, well, we have two suits that at least have capes. Like, that's something we didn't do in both Spider-Man 1 and Miles. Let's do it. And then he goes on to say, so we actually have those two suits, one for Pete, one for Miles. But what's really cool is not only being able to have those suits feature a cape and really seeing, especially when you're wingsuiting, it looks really cool. The web wings, being able to actually have color variants for each. And that's the majority of our suits. We have these color variants now, which is new to customization. So you actually get to unlock a suit, but then you also get the variants that we offer. So it's definitely to make sure we go into things like photo mode and stuff like that. People are going to really have a lot of uniqueness to when they post stuff online. So I want to park on one particular segment of this response from Bryan Intihar, and that is that there are going to be color variants for a majority of the suits in this game. And this is something that we didn't know, that there are going to be a majority of suits in this game with color variants. What we did know is from the Summer Games Fest article that came out alongside the Games Fest presentation with the release date announcement, we knew that the Arachnite suit and the Shadow Spider suit would each come out with 3 different color variants. And at first it seemed like, since this is the first time we were learning about color variants, that this was an exclusive feature to these 2 suits. But now, from this interview, Nick, this looks like we're going to be getting color variants for across the board suits throughout this game, which if you think about how many suits they packed into Spider-Man 1 and Miles Morales, we're talking about endless possibilities here with how many different suits there could be in this game. And it raises a few interesting questions, like which suits are going to get color variants, which ones aren't. Are they going to mess with legacy suits? I mean, there's just so many questions, and it just makes for great fodder for a good discussion here.
Yeah, it really does. This is an incredibly exciting reveal by Bryan Intihar here. Like you said, we knew from when all of the pre-order stuff dropped from the Summer Game Fest that the Arachnite suit and the other one for Miles would feature the color variants. And I think a lot of people were kind of assuming that the color variants were like a cool way, a cool bonus for those pre-order people to have that bonus and just have different variants of those two brand new suits. But to now learn from Bryan that actually a majority of the suits featured in Marvel's Spider-Man 2, which we don't know the exact number yet, but you have to imagine with how big they're going with this game, that they're going to take the list from the first game and they're going to expand on it substantially. Now we know that a majority of these suits are going to have these color variants, and that's so incredibly exciting because it's going to offer so many customization options to people for both Miles and for Peter, and it just, like, I have a hard time wrapping my head around all of the endless possibilities and opportunities you have here from this confirmation from Bryan here. And, you know, this article has been out for a little bit, but I feel like this is a very important detail that people are just glossing over, and how important this is to the overall customization in this game. And like you said, this raises a lot of interesting questions for conversation. And one of the big questions I have is which suits are going to have those color variants, which suits aren't going to have those color variants, and what does this mean for the possibility of legacy suits? So we don't know for sure that the legacy suits are going to be in it, and when we were referring to legacy suits, at least for me personally, I'm thinking like the Raimi trilogy suit and the Amazing Spider-Man, suit, and, Garfield, Maguire, and the Holland suits. Those are what I consider the legacy suits just from the films that have a distinguished look. What does that mean for them? Because we know, for example, in the Raimi trilogy, you have a defined look for him, but then you get the black-suited Spider-Man suit, the symbiote suit. Will this be how Insomniac potentially could get that suit into the game, or because it's dealing with a symbiote, and we know how much of this game is built around the symbiote, will that be its own standalone suit? So will we get two Raimi suits if they add it, or will there be a color variant where that's how they cover the symbiote suit? Just a lot of interesting questions popping up from this point.
Nick, I'd love to ask you a question here to kind of just start like maybe a contentious conversation, and that is, I want you to think of your favorite suit in the Spider-Verse. Are you thinking of it?
Yeah, I definitely have my answer for that.
I'm guessing it's is it the Raimi suit?
It's probably the Raimi suit. It's just such a classic look. I love it. To me, it is the perfect Spider-Man suit, and I know a lot of people have their opinions, but it's just nostalgia for me, but I absolutely love that suit.
So I'm going to ask you a question, just knowing how near and dear that suit is to you. If they went ahead and put like 5 different color variants for that Raimi suit, like one of them purple, one of them yellow, like it looks almost like a Ronald McDonald looking suit. Like, honestly, I think that the yellow Arachnite suit has like that McDonald's color variant to it, but that's a conversation for another day. If they went and started messing with the color gradients of your favorite suit, would that be something that's like, oh, this is cool, like new variants on my favorite suit? Or are you feeling like they're playing with your toys a little bit and you don't like that?
To be honest with you, I actually think it's really cool, and I like that they're providing that as a choice for people. It doesn't really bother me. I can tell you up front that I will not mess with the iconic look of a suit. If that's, for me personally, if I have the opportunity to wear the Raimi suit, I'm going to wear the Raimi suit the way it was designed and the way it should look, the red and blue look. But them offering color variants, if they do something like that, I think that's really cool because that gives people the opportunity to express themselves, to customize the character how they want it to look or how they think Spider-Man should look. And I love that because Spider-Man is a hero of the people. It's a hero that people can rally around, and giving the players the opportunity to make the Spider-Man look the way that they want him to look, the way they want Peter to look and Miles to look, I think that's great. And I really think that captures the essence of who the character represents. So it doesn't bother me. I actually think it's really cool. I personally will probably not use it very much just because I love the iconic traditional look of the Spider-Man suit. So I probably won't mess with it, but it doesn't bother me at all. I really love this. And I would love to see what Insomniac does with some of these color variants. Like their interpretation, and I would love to see them try to mess with the legacy suits and see what they can do with them. And who knows, maybe Insomniac can take some of these legacy suits and make them even cooler. Maybe they'll be able to take the Amazing Spider-Man suit if they add it, or the Raimi Trilogy suit, and maybe they'll be able to do something crazy with it where I'm like, you know what? Actually, that's kind of cooler than the original one. Like, you don't know until you get your hands on it, but this is so incredible. And like I said earlier, I think people are really glossing over this from this article just because there's so much information in here, but I think this is really important. This is huge new customization details that were confirmed by Bryan Intihar, and just the fact that we're going to have, I mean, if you think about it, there were 42, 44 suits in the first game. If you consider that they take that list, they expand on it, plus we know they're getting those 10 suits that they've kind of made up, like you kind of do the math with all of the various different color variants that they could add, and we're looking at hundreds of possible different combinations or hundreds of different customization options, color variants, suits for Peter and for Miles. Like, this is going to be a very robust customization just for the suits alone in this game.
Yeah, and when you're considering the fact that this is the first Spider-Man game in the Insomniac Spider-Verse that will properly have two main characters to it. And so that in and of itself was going to double the suit count for this game. But then on top of that, now we have, at least 3 variants. I mean, that's what we have for the Arachnite suit and Shadow Spider, is we have 3 variants, but there's nothing here that's limiting color variants to 3 per suit. We could be in a situation where there are more than 3, and of course we don't know until we get our hands on the final build, or at least until we get some more information, but this could really be that game that is the comprehensive customization Spider-Man game. And one thing that I'm also wondering is this potentially going to tie into gameplay? When you unlock a suit, do you just get all of the color variants right away, or is there going to be maybe a challenge to unlock a different color variant that might increase replayability here, might cause you to play the game for longer hours, maybe doing getting a certain high score when you're web swinging and doing tricks or something like that. Like, maybe things like that can factor into the color variants that you unlock. The possibilities are really endless when you start to think about it for this, and so it's just a great thing to think about at this stage. Like, I'm really curious to see how this all plays out.
I'm really happy you brought that point up, because I hadn't even considered it until you just said it, about the fact that the inclusion of different color variants could have a huge impact on the gameplay and the replayability of this game. And that's something we harped on a lot with some of the games we covered, is we hope that it offers that replayability factor. And it will be so interesting to see whether or not, like you said, when you unlock a suit, will you just get all of the color variants, or will you have to go out into New York City and explore around and do the side missions and do the challenges to unlock various different color variants? It would add, if they did that, hours and hours of gameplay to the experience, and I would just love to see what decision Insomniac made in that regard. So really interesting to learn more about this customization and the suit color variants and all of this stuff coming out of Spider-Man 2. I just feel like every time we sit down and make a video about this, when we get new details out of Bryan, they are just gold. It makes my excitement level for this game just grow higher and higher. Like, this has got to be my most anticipated game right now, and it's not close. Like, this just sounds like a Game of the Year contender. I know we haven't got our hands on it yet, but man, just every time we learn something new, this game sounds more and more special. So guys, let us know down below in the comments what you think of all of these brand new customization details. And I have a question for you, and I'd love to hear you guys sound off in the comments. I want you guys to pick one suit. I want to pick your favorite suit, and I want to hear what some of the color variants you would like to see for that suit if Insomniac chose to do that. We'd love to hear what you guys come up with, what you would love to see that they do with your favorite suits. I don't know what I would do with the Raimi suit, but I would love to hear some of your guys' ideas, because I know you guys have so many great ideas. We love reading through the comments, so definitely down in the comments, sound off on that. We'd love to hear from you. But guys, that is going to do it for us for this one. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, we will see you all next time.